Nah, man, nah. That's a hell of times better. Okay, boys, I am very sorry. I couldn't be bothered. Like I said in my video that I told you guys, but if you missed it, I couldn't record because I was at a relative's house and I'm finally fucking back. That was the most boring ass time I ever fucking had. Oh, God. But anyway, what I was trying to say is, I will most likely be posting a 1 hour special right now and a 1 hour special an hour later. But anyway, where I left off was with basically Deku fighting Todoroki, and Todoroki got curve stomped. But if I didn't, then recap what I said about the other fights. Yeah. So, basically, after that fight, everyone has basically just been baffled that Izuku Midoriya, the powerless weakling, just curve stomped one of them into the ground. Hold up. Sorry for that. Oh my god, bro. I have a fucking weird ass door. But anyway, what I was trying to say is basic. Oh god, really? Again. Sorry about that. That will never happen again. But anyway, getting back into this. Izuku Midoriya walks off stage after making certain that Todoroki. God, I am sorry for that. My dad barged in. I fucking knew he was gonna come in just by the way he came down. Just by the way he came to basically walking down the hall. Damn, why did I struggle to say hallway? What the fuck? But anyway, oh my, what? You know what, man? I'm stupid. I'm stupid. But anyway, like I said, after making sure Todoroki got his shit whipped, he turns around and walks off stage. He just keeps walking, and Briz and Mike and Azor finally snap out of it and yell out that Izuku Midoriya is the winner. Izuku basically walks towards his room. Basically, yeah. Whatever you want to say. I don't know what the thing is called. But anyway. He's sitting down in a chair and just decides to vent his anger by just opening gift boxes. What the absolute fuck? What you do, bro? Is he gonna come in again? I swear to God, that is a fast ass. No, never mind. He opens a few, well, two. He opens two because he's afraid someone will just most likely come barge again and start asking questions about how he has that power. So, he doesn't want to draw any attention when someone comes in and sees a box in front of his face floating. So, not like he's already in trouble. Really? So anyway, Izuku Midoriya, he opens one, and one's is basically summoned. She reads the skill and basically, well, mount. Yeah, mount. What the fuck? You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyway. God. Anyway. Izuku, he basically gets a skill called Mount. It basically allows him to summon any animal. Well, yeah, any animal. Well, any mythical creature. Yeah. Any mythical creature as his mount. Izuku is excited by this and opens another gift box. This gift box being edited. Izuku Midoriya looks and reads the skill. The skill basically is saying that it increases all of his physical. Well, he can increase a part of his basically anything to enhance by 3. Yeah. Since I don't want to make this man 2 of a parts away, puts a billion points in the one thing and just becomes unkillable. But anyway. Hey, more time later, Izuku Midoriya, he watches all the fights. Basically, Isai vs. Wise, Isai wins it by basically boosting himself by 5 times. Next up, it was Todoroki and all the Ken fights, since I don't want to name all that. So he finally hears his name. He gets up and walks out into the basically arena. Izuku, she basically sees, you know what? Izuku basically sees that Bakugo is already here and is ready to fight him. Izuku sighs and just walks onto the stage. Bakugo says that he's gonna kill him. That he's gonna basically, yeah, like I said, kill him. Izuku he basically finally has a holy fucking, you know what? Yeah, but anyway, he finally has enough of Bakugo. Basically, Bakugo is using his mini explosions, and Izuku, you you basically know how Bakugo uses tiny explosions to intimidate people. Yeah, Izuku does the same thing to him. He basically uses the same explosion, and this is his weakest version. This being basically having the force of Bakugo's full powered explosion while still being condensed to a point where it looks like a tiny explosion. Bakugo, yeah, doesn't care and just tries to make his explosion look more intimidating, and it doesn't work at all. Izuku only looks at this and creates basically another two explosions up to his entire arm. He basically ignites it in explosions, as you can say. If you don't get it, you know what I mean. I don't know, but anyway, Izuku, Peasant Mike finally says go. Bakugo charges towards Izuku. Izuku dodging this and punching Bakugo in the gut with his basically explosion-covered arm. Bakugo gets stabbed. Why did I say Bakugo? Whatever the hell I said. Why does it sound so weak? You know what I mean? Come, no. But anyway, Izuku, he basically Bakugo. What? Bakugo? What the fuck? Bro, there's already this many interruptions 7 minutes into the video. Oh, I might cut it. No, I'm way too lazy. What am I saying? Cutting it down. I'm playing with myself. There's already this many interruptions 7 minutes into this video. This is gonna be a disaster. But anyway, I just fucking forgot. You know what I mean? I just fucking forgot what I said. But no, anyway, I think I remember. Izuku here quickly summons Dark Shadow, and basically Dark Shadow grabs Bakugo by the head and smashes him down into basically the ground, and basically lifts his head up, and Izuku comes in with a gut punch and exploding his fist into Bakugo's gut. Basically what I mean is on impact he basically exploded it. So basically Bakugo was sent flying backwards, and he rolls on the ground, and he quickly gets up using explosions and blasting towards Izuku again. Izuku sighs looking at this again, and quickly uses Dark Shadow, but this time Baku uses Explosion, but is too focused on Dark Shadow, and Izuku comes in with a right hook to the face, sending Bakugo down to the ground, and Tokiyama basically getting his full size again, and basically disliking what Bakugo did, and he just basically starts punching Bakugo in the face, basically in the face. Bakugo uses his explosion on Tokiyami and sends him flying. Basically, Dark Shadow retreats back into Izuku, and he basically Deku. He rushes towards Bakugo again, this time covering both of his arms with explosions, well, coating it. Izuku quickly basically threw a jab, let's say jab. He basically knocks Bakugo in the face, and basically explodes Bakugo in the face right after that. Kind of using, when Bakugo blinded Naoma with his explosions. Yeah, he does this. And after that, basically, the fuck? He basically, he just starts him in the fucking jaw. That's all I can say. Bakugo gets sent down by this again, and he basically, what the absolute fuck? he basically, Bakugo basically gets sent down again. Down. Izuku quickly gets on top of that man's. No homo. Don't make this gay, I swear to God. He quickly gets on top of him and starts basically pummeling into Bakugo. Well, beating into Bakugo. Bakugo, he uses explosions to get Izuku off him. But this barely has any effect, but Izuku now wanted to draw more attention to him that he already has enough attention on him. He quickly acts like he gets sent flying and rolls on the ground. Izuku quickly uses his hands to push himself, and pushes himself off of them, and quickly gets back on his feet and rushes towards him again. Izuku basically cocks back his fist and punches Bakugo square in the jaw. Before he could do anything, he basically kneels down and uses an explosion straight into Bakugo's guts and Bakugo flying. But Izuku doesn't basically stop. He summons Dark Shadow, quickly comes out and grabs Bakugo's collar, bringing him back again and quickly punching him with enough force in the gut. With enough force to basically almost knock Bakugo unconscious. But, he throws Bakugo towards Izuku. And Izuku, he basically hits Bakugo in the face with a full explosion. Bakugo gets up flying, and this man just basically starts spamming it. Tokiyama basically going forward, grabbing Bakugo by the hair, and smashing him down into the ground. And knocking Bakugo out cold. Izuku stands up and walks away. He hears his name being called, but he doesn't care. And suddenly, basically, Izuku Midoriya is the winner. Izuku just keeps walking, knowing that he doesn't want to know who's calling his name. He finally reaches his room, sits down, and decides to try out his basically monkey skill. This skill only being at level 1. Izuku quickly says, basically, he just says mount, and no random mount appears. This being a griffin. A griffin almost filling half the space. Holy shit. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna keep saying that all night, but anyway. And basically, Izuku falling off his chair by the amount of size this thing basically covers. Well, by the size of this thing. As I said, the size cover. What the fuck? You know what I mean? By the size of this thing, and he basically, like I said, falls off his chair. He quickly gets off his chair and basically says the summon, and the thing quickly basically vanishes. Izuku sighs and he hears the door open up. Izuku quickly looks up and gains his composure and turns back to a emotionless face. Izuku basically seeing that it's Kendo. Izuku grew a small smile, but not a noticeable one. Oh, yeah, I'm getting real Black Air Force energy right now, but not important. Izuku, oh god, I'm back. But anyway, wow, some real Black Air Force energy. It's gonna be interesting. Izuku basically asks Kendo what she's doing here, and she says she's happy I finally revealed he has powers. Izuku sighs and just says, "Is that all you want? Is that all you wanted to say?" She says yes, and Izuku quickly tells her to get out. She leaves reluctantly, and Izuku, he basically sighs and smiles, saying, "That girl." Izuku turns around and just basically sits back down in the chair. Izuku basically at this point just slams his head into the desk. Just slams his head into the desk. Izuku basically just keeps his head lying, basically just keeping his head down until he finally hears his name being called. He quickly gets up and basically walks towards the arena again. He sees that he is facing the perverted dragon. Izuku basically, he sighs again and just looks at this guy. And he sees him smoking, and Izuku asks him why he's smoking. And he basically say, didn't you see what I just did to fucking Bakugo? He says yes, and he says he doesn't care. Izuku just grew basically a deadpan expression and say, this man really trying to fucking die. Izuku quickly gets his composure and grows another emotionless expression. Izuku, he basically hears go, and before he could react, since I'm saying this is about convenience, I need this, he quickly gets shot in the face by a dragon shot. Izuku falls back and on his butt and looks up at him. He sees Issa smiling again, and and basically Issa says that no matter how strong you are, I'll still be stronger. Izuku, he basically gets up, and he starts using his explosions on his arm and runs towards basically Bar. Runs towards Isai. At this point, he almost vanishes. But Isai could barely track him with his eyes. Izuku quickly comes in with a basically left hook, right hook, and kicks him in the face, sending Isai basically rolling back onto the ground. Wow. And sending Isai rolling down the ground. Isai quickly gets up and tries firing another dragon shot. Izuku luckily just quickly jumps out the way and runs towards him again, him making bigger explosions on his arms and him seeing no notable difference. Izuku quickly just basically reaches this man's in almost basically a second and punches Isai in the face. This basically be, when Bakugo uses his gauntlets and releases that basically a massive explosion, yet this almost being that size. Isai is basically tumbling back with basically a bruised up face. He gets up and basically goes into scale mail, him vanishing from Izuku's field of vision, and Izuku quickly hears something behind him, but when he turns around, he gets punched in the face and gets sent tumbling back. This, however, doing not even a speck of damage or even bringing down a speck of his health. Izuku quickly just gets back up and decides to keep on doing this. Him getting punched in the face, rolling back, and this going on for a couple of minutes. People are starting to say to just finish the fight, to just basically knock Izuku out, but Isai doesn't want to do that since he's basically cocky that he's gonna win this fight. But before he can even do anything, Izuku, he vanishes. Izuku also suddenly vanishes too. And basically, Isai just comes tumbling back towards the ground again and hits it with full impact. Izuku basically coming and landing on the ground again and running towards them. Izuku quickly jumps in the air, channels his explosion in his arm, and basically goes crashing down on Isai. This basically making a massive explosion in the process, sending Isai rolling back. Izuku quickly stands up though, and Isai quickly stands up and tries to punch Izuku in the face, but before he could even touch Izuku, he quickly dodged it, and he basically starts coke stomping him, throwing right hooks, throwing left hooks, and basically just throwing jabs at him. At this point, this man is just bodying this guy. There's nothing Isai can do. If he tries to basically dodge an attack, it's either he gets hit from the right or the left. That is until he starts basically getting a handle on Izuku's basically strategy. Him quickly dodging a punch, turning left, and throwing a punch at a blowing figure. Basically, the reason Izuku's blurry is because he's moving at a very fast pace, almost like when basically the Flash starts vibing. Don't put that on. Vibrating. but basically becomes hella blurry, and his voice changes. So yeah, basically that. Izuku here quickly stands up. Well, no, and basically this going on for a couple of seconds, with Izuku finally having enough of toying, and finally ending it all with Isai. Well, Isai ending Isai with a massive nuclear type explosion. Well, not a full-on nuke. That no. Him basically putting this explosion having the force of a nuke behind it, and keep in mind the force of a fucking nuke. Oh my bro. No way you fucking surviving that, but because of plot and I don't want this nigga to die yet. Yeah, yet. Yeah, you heard that right. But anyway, Izuku quickly, and Isai falls down on the ground, unconscious. Keep in mind, Izuku at this point is almost using nothing. And what I mean by nothing is almost he uses no percent of his power. Izuku quickly turns around and just quickly walks away. Him stepping off the arena and turning around. Him just basically walking away and basically reaching his room again. Him sitting down again and basically oh my god, Shirek, stop. Don't steal. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm sorry if you heard that. He was like he did it. But anyway, Izuku basically just basically wanting to use the Griffin to just fly out of here. Izuku, oh, Izuku just quickly stands up and walks away. Izuku basically walking out to see basically who's fighting currently. Who can it be? Yeah, Naruto and Sasuke, since that's the only thing I could come up with. Currently, basically, almost like the final fight. And at this point, Izuku just has enough. Because at this point, they're just flexing. Because let's say the arena just they expand the arena for the final challenges because they saw how basically powerhouse these guys are. Well, basically the power these guys have. And don't want any civilians to get hurt, so they did that. Finally, they finally, like I said, lose, their arms. Izuku basically gets up. Yeah, Izuku basically sees that at this current time, this is bad. Oh my god. Sorry about that whole time thing. But anyway, paramedics quickly come out and help the two injured teens to basically heal their arms again. Luckily, the event they do get their arms back, but it will take a bit of use. Well, it will take a bit of time to get used to it. Izuku just basically, well, it was a tie. Izuku just basically gets up and walks away. He quickly just basically goes back to his room and lays his head down on the desk again. Izuku finally hears his name. He stands up and basically walks towards his next match. This person being Valley. If you don't know who Valley is, basically from High School DxD, the basically White Dragon Emperor, right? So yeah, Izuku reaches it, and Valley, not wanting to underestimate Izuku, quickly goes Balance Breaker and basically flies to Izuku at speed that almost he can see. Well, he's basically, yeah. Let's say Izuku got a skill that basically limits his total abilities. Him basically putting all of his stats at 10. Yeah, at 10. Izuku quickly gets, well, except for his ability since he doesn't want to get killed in this fight. Izuku quickly realizes his intelligence Well, his intelligence and his durability. That's all that he based. That's the only two that he didn't. Since he doesn't want to seem stupid to a bunch of people on TV. Well, basically, he seems stupid live. Izuku's size. And basically, well, no. But anyway. Valley quickly punches Izuku in the face, and just sending him rolling on the ground. Izuku quickly turns around, and basically he basically runs towards him at 0% of his speed, basically. He quickly broke. And aside from a loud ass fan. But fuck over. No way. But anyway. Izuku basically keeps getting bombarded by punches and Valley starts wondering how Izuku is not dead yet. Izuku quickly has enough of this and basically sets everything to 100. He basically vanishes, like fun disappears, and massive shockwaves are basically sent all over the place, also creating a small crater. Izuku quickly appears behind Valley, and when he turns around, he's basically met with a punch to the face, basically shattering his armor and knocking him out at the same time. Izuku sighs and sits down to 10. Except for his intelligence, like I said. Izuku, he quickly turns around and basically walks away again. He goes, sits down, and with his head on his desk again. A couple of fights later, he finally hears his name being called. He gets up, walks towards the arena to see who he's facing. And who can this person be? Who could it be? Fuck. Let's just say by plot, Itsuka. Izuku quickly realizes who he's fighting and just basically sighs and puts all of his stats at 5. Well, except for his speed. Izuku once again quickly disappears. Oh yeah, Izuku quickly runs towards Izuka to basically end this out quickly. But he fakes out and Izuka punches him in the face like a motherfucker. Keep in mind, Izuku's health too evil. Only reason Izuku didn't basically get knocked out when Valley punched him was because his durability was high as hell. Wow. But anyway, Izuku, his durability basically being at 1 and his health being at 2. Yeah, he gets punched in the face and quickly gets knocked out. Yeah. But not one. Izuku wakes up in Recovery's office, sits up, and basically looks around to see that no one's there. He quickly basically gets out and walks. What the absolute hell? What the fuck? And quickly just walks towards the arena to see what happened. He sees that medals are basically getting given out, and he sees Itsuka standing at first place. Izuku quickly basically walks towards and gets his second place medal. I was about to start questioning him on how he got that song, but Izuku just looked at him and gave him a glare. Izuku, Alman might be thinking that he's working with All For One. Izuku basically, he just sighs because that dumb thought All Might had. Yeah, at this point he can just read minds. That's what scary guy. But anyway. Izuku just basically wants this to be over as fast as possible. He just wanting not to be there. He just quickly leaves and just walks. He just walks towards the dorms again. Well, the 1B dorm, since 1A doesn't like him anymore. He finally reaches it, goes up to his throne room, and lies down in his bed. Izuku, he hears the thought in his head. Izuku quickly, basically just wakes up. He's looking around, and he basically sees nothing. That's when he hears the voice again. He quickly looks around again, and Jax finally screams, "In your head, dumbass!" Izuku quickly, basically having a headache at this, quickly tells him to shut up and says he's coming. Izuku quickly entering his mindscape to see four dragons there. Izuku looks closely and sees a blue dragon, a white dragon, an orange dragon, and what seems to be a pink dragon. He sighs, turns around and says, "What the fuck is this?" He locks eyes with Jag and Albion. Jag and Albion both shrugging their shoulders, and Izuku turning around and basically asking them who are they. They basically say nothing, and one finally steps up. He steps up and says his name is... What should his name be? You know what? If you know where this weapon comes from, I'll give you a shout out. I mean, no one comment, you know, never mind. Izuku quick, he introduces himself as Wagner. Izuku says hello and asks him who the rest of the people are behind him. He turns around and they quickly just basically look away. He sighs and they all suddenly disappear, except for Wagner. Keep in mind, Wagner is the blue dragon. Izuku once again asks him who were they, him saying that he can't tell him, they must. Izuku basically hating this hidden inconspicuous bullshit just sighs and not wanting to argue with this guy. He says what do they want and say they're here to train Izuku. Izuku looks at him and he can basically sense the power coming off him. Basically a little bit ahead of Izuku, a little bit stronger than him. Izuku just basically sighs and says tomato, and before the dragon can even say anything, he quickly leaves his mindscape and just decides to go basically just to go to a dungeon. Izuku says I deviate and spawns into a what can it be? He quickly spawns into an area with a bunch of basically different types of zombies. This zombie's having a mix, a horde of monsters. This horde having brutes, basically berserkers. Basically having berserkers in them. Basically Dark Souls monster, basically any monster you can think of. That's what's in that horde. Izuku looks closely and just decides not to question it since he has a lot of questions on his mind. First off, how the hell are all of you here? And second off, why? Just why? Izuku just sighs and just decides, you know what, I'll question it later. Izuku, he quickly pulls out his spear, like I said, and quickly chucks it towards the horde. Well, basically, some of the horde monsters getting basically killed, but later on regenerating. Izuku looks at this closely and basically just decides to try this again. His spear wiping on most of the zombies, most of the horde, them quickly regenerating again. Izuku at this point rubs his eyes and asks if he's tripping. He looks closer and decides to try this again. This time not looking at Izuku, just he says screw it and runs towards the horde, pulling out his sword. Him basically cutting down everything in his path. You name it, he cuts it down. Izuku, he's basically cutting down everything he sees. But later on, you see that he's surrounded because he basically cut down a straight line of the horde. him basically running straight into the horde and cutting down a straight line, basically running in a straight line while also swinging his swords. Izuku finally sees that he's in the middle of the horde and quickly looks around. Him seeing this and quickly basically using his explosives in his hand and slams his fist into the ground, basically releasing a massive explosion, clearing all of the horde. Izuku quickly stands up and sees them regenerating, but before all of them are back, he quickly just gets them, basically gets away from the massive horde of zombies. Why do I keep saying zombies? Damn it! Monsters. He says that these things were summoned and not here. Well, not entirely just here. He quickly basically pulls out his bow. He basically pulls quickly out a gift box and plays the guy, then he gets basically a sensory type. A sensory type skill. This sensory type skill, hoping that he basically has the ability to sense over a wide area. Izuku, he quickly pays it and opens a box. This box basically having the sense skill in it. Izuku just basically says he's the luckiest man alive and quickly uses it. Him basically not focusing on the horde of monsters. Basically not using a sensory skill in that area. Izuku quickly sees senses someone with dark robes on. He quickly pulls out his bow and fires at that direction. Suddenly, it gets deflected by a blast. Izuku saying, "I got you now." He rushes towards the area and pulls out his daggers and basically creates him a lot of dark slashes. All these dark slashes suddenly basically were countered by a massive shield blocking. Izuku knows that mages are good at long range. Izuku runs towards the mage to basically close the distance between them. Izuku finally reaches it and basically throws a punch at full power to end this guy quickly. The guy dodging in and hitting Izuku basically in the gut, sending him flying. Izuku stumbling on the ground quickly pushes off his hand and slices and basically cuts down straight and basically making a dark energy slash. This arm was killing the guy, but luckily him dodging and shooting off basically a fire blast at light speed. This hitting Izuku in the chest and sending him flying, rolling. He quickly gets up and runs toward the guy again. This time Izuku is fully focused on trying to end this dude. Him quickly summoning both Albion and Drag. Him using dark. Him basically covering his arm in dark flames and his other arm in ice. This ice basically, if you touch it, if he touches someone or if it gets touched. Why did I say touches? What the fuck? It gets touched. It quickly freezes you. Izuku basically running towards this guy, throwing a punch, the guy dodging it, and the mage throwing a kick at Izuku's face. Izuku dodging it and basically throwing. At this point, these dudes are just basically using their feet. Izuku stops doing this, but when basically the mage throws a kick, Izuku dodges, grabs his leg under his armpit, and basically yanks the mage closer. Izuku quickly uses his ice arm to detain this guy quickly. He finally knocks this guy in the face and basically slams him down into the ground. Basically what I did. He basically does this to all for one. Since there's no sound, so I don't want to be copyrighted. Okay, now that's out the way. Anyway, Izuku, he basically detains this guy quickly while not freezing his mouth. He wants to get answers from this guy. He quickly asks this guy, He quickly asked this guy some questions, but the guy just remained silent. So Izuku just decided to kill this guy. He quickly basically puts his black flames onto the guy's face and basically bones it. He finally looks, he finally is done and turns about to face the horde. Then basically come rushing at Izuku, this time a lot bigger. Izuku asked if they got bigger, and they said, no. Well, he got no answer. Izuku basically quickly just, he, he basically once told them too. Izuku basically trying to end this as quickly as possible. Uses his spear, his bow, and also cutting him down with his daggers and sword. Izuku quickly sighs, turns around, and he basically killed all the zombies. Well, the horde of monsters. Izuku basically turning around and walking away. I think I left Izuku at level 72. Hold up, I gotta do something real quick. Izuku at this time leveled up 20 times, putting him at level 92. Izuku basically put all of his stats at 300. And his intelligence, I put him at 400, and basically 500. Yeah, 500 to be nice. Izuku basically says, "ID escape," and quickly spawns in his room. He turns around and walks towards his bed and plops onto it. Izuku quickly falls asleep. So anyway, Izuku, the next day, well, yeah, time skip to the next day. Izuku quickly gets out of bed, and we time skip the rest of the week, with him basically having to avoid basically the orc thing. The reason is basically Rise wants him to join him, wants him to join. Izuku was declining and walking away. And most of the time, when they go trying to flow with Izuku, but him just giving them the cold shoulder, and walking away. Izuku, he basically, and Uraka finally comes up to him and tries to kiss him. Izuku quickly dodges this, turns around, just walks off since he doesn't want to get into an argument. He hears his name being called, but he doesn't care and just quickly walks away. Izuku, he's basically sitting on his bed on a Saturday. He sighs, him knowing that this was a stressful weekend for him so far. Izuku, what the hell? Anyway, what? Izuku finally just, how can I say this? What the fuck? Izuku quickly just, basically, him quickly standing up and seeing one universe, multiverse, yeah, universe, that sticks out to him the most. And he reads it out loud and sees its name, S-A-O. So, as it basically says, so the line next to S-A-O. Izuku quickly, Izuku, him wanting to know what this, universe is, says, I decreate. Well, I guess, yeah, let's give him a catchphrase for when he wants to teleport. Izuku, him quickly saying, vanish, and him starting to disappear, or him disappearing in basically a burst of blue particles. Him suddenly appearing in SAO. Him basically just standing there in his normal clothes. Well, let me show you your normal clothes. Him just basically standing there in this type of gear. Some players basically walking past him, giving him weird looks. Izuku immediately knew these were players because of the aura coming off of them. Izuku basically quickly, he just hides his entire presence because he was giving off a major presence. Izuku basically soloed and saying he doesn't want to draw attention to him. He basically, a bunch of players start gathering around him and searching for the master presence. them sensing nothing and just saying it's a noob. Izuku basically saying in his head that he could kill all of them with one swing of his hand. Finally, he just turns around and quickly walks away. Izuku, luckily at this time, what the fuck? Izuku at this time, he walked up to a player and asked the player basically what was going on. This player basically, well, Izuku basically walking up to him, and Izuku quickly realizing that this is a game. Izuku quickly walks up to the player and asks for basically the player to try and give him some info, basically like a tutorial. He quickly turns around and sees Izuku. He quickly asks Izuku what level he is. Izuku says level 5, and basically the player basically sighing and saying he wants to join the party, but just says screw it. Let me show you. Izuku, he says okay, and later we see Midoriya getting taught on all the basics basically, how to see stats and everything like that. Izuku quick how to see stats, his level, basically what his inventory is, and basically everything like that. Izuku basically having to play dumb through most of it, since he already know all of this stuff by the leveling system alone. Izuku, he basically, after it was done, he quickly asked the player what level he is. The player quickly says that he's level 50. Izuku looking at him and basically saying that he's close to him. The player gives Izuku a weird look and say that he's level 5. The player basically Izuku saying him basically stop hiding his presence, and all of his powers just basically go skyrocketing in the area. The player quickly becoming scared and asking Izuku what level he is. Izuku quickly says 92. He basically says that he's close to the top players. This will obviously be Asuna and Kyoto. Izuku says okay, and him turning around and walking away. Izuku decides basically to not try and basically look like an easy target. Izuku basically he decides to get some armor. He quickly says he says I deku it again, and since basically give him a catchphrase, it's basically to have a defense. So he quickly spawns in. He quickly basically spawns in a dungeon that is very unfamiliar. This basically being a cavern. Izuku quickly basically walking around. Him seeing monsters, but instead of basically giving him nothing, they start giving him basically monster material. What I mean by is basically fragments of basically themselves. Izuku basically being confused and decided to get them more info. It's saying that this could be sold at a vendor. Izuku quickly gets excited by this and quickly basically says I de-escape. Izuku quickly basically spawns in. It looks like he basically teleported fast travel to the main basically area, Sato area. And Izuku did hide his presence before he left, before he got to the main area. Starting area, damn it. Izuku quickly walking up to one of the vendors and selling all of his monster material. Him getting 60,000 gold. Izuku, he basically walks around and starts asking players where he could buy some armor. The player is giving him directions and him walking up to a vendor. Him basically buying this set of armor. Izuku, he buys 2 sets of armor. It being this armor and this armor. The first set of armor is basically Izuku's assassin class. Well, it's basically revolved around upping his speed to the maximum. If he puts that armor on, his speed is basically increased to 1000. He can be very fast. This basically, this space armor is based around two things. Well, three, I guess. Durability, two. Durability and health. Yeah, yeah, three. Durability, attack, and health. That's all that it matters on. It basically increasing Izuku's basically health to 1000, his durability to 500, and his attack to 600. Izuku, he basically is happy with this. He quickly turns around and, decides and suddenly gets a party offer. Izuku basically quickly equips his armor and basically walks around. Well, hold up. Izuku also has this set of armor. But this set of armor only basically does nothing to him. All it does is only basically make him heavier. What I mean by heavier, it only makes him, will be like I said, heavier. Makes him once run slow and everything like that. This is mainly just to basically have some protection and not have over the top things like basically that armor. Izuku, he quickly gets up. Well, Izuku quickly basically leaves and sees that he he quickly got a party invite. He quickly reads it and it is the same player that he met earlier. Izuku smiled at this and said accept. The guy quickly teleporting towards Izuku and basically, the guy quickly teleports to Izuku and Izuku basically asking him if he's sure about this. He says yes, and Izuku just smiles and says, let's go. He and the guy quickly start exploring around the area. This going on for basically a couple of, 5 days in game. The guy says he has to get off. Izuku says okay and see you next time. They schedule a time of meeting around 5 p.m. Yeah, Izuku agrees with that. Izuku agrees with that since that time he's done with school. So Izuku, the guy quickly logs off while Izuku says, de-escape. Well, disappear. Well, Izuku says disappear. He quickly appears in his room and lies down in his bed. Izuku kind of having a smile on his face, but it quickly vanishes into his usual emotionless face. But anyway, time skip to Sunday. Izuku just basically, he quickly hops into Sword Art Online again because there's nothing better to do. And him wanting to just basically spend his free time, since the whole week, the next week, he's just gonna be busy all the damn time. So, Izuku, he quickly, at this point, he's just basically running around and doing quests to level up. His double XP skill coming in heavy handy. Izuku levels up 3 times. What the fuck? You know what? Never mind. Yeah. Should I? Or should I not? At this point, I'm just damn it! Contemplating with myself. Oh my god. Izuku finally. Izuku sighs and just decides to, go and check out. To just go, hold the fuck on, bro. Izuku quickly basically walks up. He walks up to the leaderboard and sees two names. He sees, I think, Kyoto was level 97. I think National was 69. What the 96? Damn, what? I swear to God. But anyway, and Izuku being at 95. Izuku saying he only has 2 levels to go before he's basically at their league. Izuku is just basically saying he has to be stronger than everyone and doesn't want to be left in the dust again. Izuku quickly goes off and does a lot of quests, and I mean lots of quests. Izuku is finally done. Well, Izuku at this time being at level 105. Izuku basically walking up to the leaderboard again, and he sees that they leveled up again. Them being on their level. Kyoto being at level 98 and Asuna being at level 97. Izuku chuckles a little bit and says his double XP card luckily came in massive handy. Finally, he basically sees that his friend logged on again. Izuku quickly teleported towards him and basically started talking with him again. What the fuck? No, man, never mind. And quickly starts talking to him again. Izuku, what the fuck? You know what I don't want to know. The guy basically asking Izuku what level he is now. And keep in mind, this guy's down level 70 since they output Izuku, he says level 105. The guy quickly saying that I'll never catch up to him. Izuku says don't think like that. He'll get something to me eventually. It'll only take a long time. The guy sighs. And they just decide to do quests. Izuku basically leveling up to level 107. The guy basically leveling up to 80. Yeah, I might be doing this fast, but screw it. No, not level 75. Izuku, he's just basically. What else now? Fuck. Sorry if you hear that. So you most likely did, but anyway, I gotta record this fast. But anyway, Izuku, he basically asked the guy what now. The guy basically looks at Izuku and asks if he wants to go scout more pod members. Izuku sighs and basically says okay. Izuku and the guy quickly just go scouting for pod members. So, Izuku and basically this guy, they quickly fuck. They quickly find. Well, what the fuck? Them quickly finding. Yeah, them quickly finding 2 bond members. These bond members, one being at level 80 and the other being at level 40. Yeah. Well, level 50, yeah, level 50. Izuku being the main attacker. Well, let's give these guys names. I suck at names, keep that in mind. Let's go with basically Kai and Izuku are the main attackers, while Alex is a tank and Emily is a healer. Yeah. Well, you know what? Hmm. Alex, instead of being a tank, Alex is a mage while Emily is a healer. Almost a mage. Izuku, them doing basically a ton. And I mean a ton of quests. The guy being a lower level and all them leveled up easier. Him being a level 60. And basically Izuku being at 108. Well, he tells them that he's level... what can Izuku be at? I'm telling him that he's at level 30. So, him saying that he's at level 35 now. Izuku, them giving a somewhat disgusted look. Except for the guy Izuku told his true level 2. Izuku knows this but just shrugs it off. But keeping it in the back of his head since he knows those disgusted faces all too well. During his first time, Izuku Midoriya. Hold up. Sorry about that, but anyway. A face that Izuku Midoriya knew all too well for the first time in his life. Izuku Midoriya felt true fear once again. The reason? He's scared. He's scared of being all alone again. Just because he wanted to not put off a scary aura on people. Because he wanted to hide what he could really do. He wanted to start fresh, but starting off fresh meant getting disgusted faces. Then screw it, I guess. What the hell? Izuku. He... Izuku basically turns around. Izuku, him turn around and tell them to get going. They hold the body quickly starts basically leaving. Izuku basically Emily saying that she has to get off. Then Kai, then Alex. They all get off. And Izuku is the only one there. Izuku sits there and he starts feeling something warm going down his cheek. Izuku Midoriya touches it and looks at what it is. And what felt like forever, Izuku Midoriya finally began crying his heart, his soul, and his eyes out. And that's where I'm going to leave it off. Keep an eye on my channel, since I'll be uploading another basically 1 hour special to make it up to you guys. I'll be posting a lot of 1 hour specials. But anyway, see you guys in a hot hour.